Hello students, today we're going to talk about ratio tables and graphs. We are going to use our understanding of ratios and utilize tables and graphs in order to answer the questions below. So looking at question number 1, it says an artist mixes yellow and blue paint to make the perfect shade of green. She uses 2 ounces of blue paint for every 7 ounces of yellow. So what I'm going to do first is ask myself, what are we comparing? We're comparing yellow paint to blue paint, okay, in order to make a shade of green. And for every 2 ounces of blue paint, she uses 7 ounces of yellow. So my very first values of blue and yellow are going to go in the very top of my table here. So for blue, I'm going to go ahead and write down 2, because there's 2 initial ounces of blue paint. For every 7, I'm going to put 7 in my yellow column for every 7 ounces of yellow paint. Now this initial ratio here is 2 to 7. So I'm going to write 2:7. For every 2 ounces of blue paint, I have 7 ounces of yellow paint. If I was to double this amount, right, then that would make my blue paint 4 ounces and my yellow paint 14 ounces. My ratio is still 2 to 7. If I simplify 4 to 14 by cutting that in half, I would still have the same ratio of 2 to 7. It doesn't change. Even though I scaled up my ratio by 2 because I doubled my amount of blue paint and I doubled my amount of yellow paint, my ratio is still 2 to 7. Now I want to look at question A, and it says, how many ounces of yellow will the artist need to add to 12 ounces of blue? Okay, so if I put 12 in my blue column, and I want to know how much yellow I will need in order to make that green shade that we're looking for here, I'm going to ask myself what my scale factor is between 4 and 12. 4 to 12. How did I get from 4 to 12? Well, I multiplied by 3, right? So now I'm going to go ahead and take 14, and I'm also going to multiply by 3. For my yellow ounces. So I'm going to go ahead and take 14 and I'm going to multiply that by 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry that 1. 3 times 1 is 3 plus the 1 I carried is 4. So therefore this would become 42 ounces. So if I had 12 ounces of blue paint, in order to keep my 2 to 7 ratio, I would need to have 42 ounces of yellow paint because I scaled up 3 for my blue and my yellow paint. I'm going to look at question B. And the artist realizes she has 49 ounces of yellow left. How many ounces of blue will she need to add? Okay, so if I put 49 ounces in my yellow column, and I want to know how many ounces of blue she's going to need in order to keep her ratio of 2 to 7, then I'm going to ask myself, okay, what can I scale up by? Well, I can't scale 42 to 49, and I can't really scale 14 to 49, but I can scale 7 to 49. 7 times what equals 49? 7 does. 7 times 7 equals 49. So if I scale my 2 by 7 times 7, 2 times 7 is 14. So I would need 14 ounces of blue paint if I had 49 ounces of yellow left. Now we're going to go ahead and skip question C, so you can just put an X through that, and we're going to move on to question number 2. Okay, Mark owns a personal training business. He makes a total of $500 for every 3 clients he acquires. Graph the relationship on the coordinate plane below. Okay. So I'm going to underline my information that I'm given. I know I'm comparing clients to money. So money and clients. $500 for every 3 clients. I'm going to graph this relationship to start off with. So I'm looking at my coordinate plane right here. And this far left corner is going to be 0. So that's my first value. Okay. On this first line, I have my 3 clients. I'm going to go ahead and write clients down here. Clients. And then money is on my y-axis. This is my x-axis over here, and this is my y-axis up here. So my horizontal axis, I have my clients, and on my y-axis, my vertical axis, I have the money that he's making. So for every 3 clients, I'm going to put a 3 right here. He makes $500. Put 500 over here. So this is my first value. If we double that, every 6 clients, we would have to also double our amount here. That would be $1,000. Okay. If we tripled our initial amount, that would be 9. 3 times 3 is 9. So then I need to triple my initial amount, which would be $1,500 for his money. If we quadrupled our amount, that would be 12 clients, making him $2,000. Okay. If I took my initial amount 3 and multiplied it by 5, 3 times 5 is 15, and that would make him $2,500. Okay. So I'm going to look at question A first. After I plot each of these amounts here. A says if Mark is saving to purchase $2,500 in new equipment, how many clients will he need? Well, based off of my graph and the information that I've placed on my graph so far, I know that if Mark has 15 clients, he will make $2,500. Okay, just because I took my initial ratio of 3 to 500 and I multiplied that by 5. I scaled up by 5. Now, how much money will 21 clients bring in? So let's go ahead and take our initial ratio. I know for every 3 clients, he's going to make $500. And if I make my clients to money, if I make my clients 21, my scale factor from 3 to 21 is times 7. I'm scaling up by 7. So 500 times 7, okay, would be 3,500. So that's how much money he would bring in, is 3,500. And I know this is 3,500 because 7 times 5 is 35, and then I add my 2 zeros for my 500 to the end of that, 3,500. Question C says Mark hopes to one day earn $10,000. Predict how many clients Mark would need to train in order to get $10,000. So again, let's take our initial ratio of clients to money, which was 3 to 500. And I'm going to make my money equal to $10,000 because that's what the question is asking for. And I need to ask myself, how do I get from 500 to 10,000? Okay. Well, let's first ignore our zeros. 5 to 10 is 2, right? Times 2. But I know 500 times 2 is just 1,000. So I'm going to go ahead and take 500 and multiply it by 20 and see if that's what I'm looking for, right? So 0 times 0 is 0. I'm going to drop my 0, move on to 2. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. And 2 times 5 is 10, okay? So I know that 500 times 20 equals 10,000. So now I'm going to go ahead and scale up my 3 by 20. 3 times 20 is 60, so therefore he's going to need 60 clients in order to earn $10,000. And last but not least, question number 3. Alexander has a collection of baseball cards he wants to organize into a book. Use the table to determine how many pages he will need to hold 234 cards. Okay, so our initial ratio is 3 to 18. Pages to cards is 3 to 18. And we want to know how many pages, so question mark on our pages, he will need to hold 234 cards. So when looking at this ratio, this proportion, what I'm trying to do is figure out my scale factor. Now, I can simplify my 3 over 18 in order to find my relationship between 18 and 234. That relationship is going to be very big. So in order to save time, if I just simplify this initial ratio, I can get to 234 a little bit easier. So I know that 3 over 18 is evenly divisible by 3. 3 over 18 can be reduced by 3 because 3 divided by 3 is 1 and 18 divided by 3 is 6. Okay, so what I want you to do is go back and I want you to erase your 3 over 18 and I want you to write down your simplified ratio, which is 1 over 6. 1 over 6. So now my scale factor from 6 to 234 can be solved by taking 234 and dividing it by 6. How many times does 6 go into 2? It doesn't, but 6 goes into 23 3 times, which is 18. 23 minus 18 is going to be 5. You can drop down your 4. And 6 goes into 54 9 times. So I know that my scale factor is 39. 6 times 39 is going to get me to 234. Now all I have to do is copy that scale factor on the top. 1 times 39 is 39. So therefore, if Alexander has 39 pages, he'll be able to hold 234 cards. Please make sure that this notes page makes it into your math binder and you may use it in order to solve the worksheet that your substitute gives you. Have a great rest of your day and see you tomorrow.